In this video we'll be creating the basic box model, so taking our splines and simply making like a piece of card basically before we map the materials on and later animate. So let's get started. So here's our cutter guide bought in from Illustrator into Cinema as a set of splines. We've resized everything inside the square that was on our Illustrator artwork, resized it to 300 by 300, which is the size we want. So that's now done. So we can take all the cutter guide paths out of the outer square and delete that because we don't need it any longer. Now what we need to do is to go through these paths and name them for the panels that we want them to be, nest them inside each other so that they actually fold one on the other, so when we animate the thing will fold as we'd hope it would do in real life. And we do that by moving the axes. So to start with, we'll go through, highlight them one by one and name everything. This panel is going to be the base, this one will be the front, this one will be the top, this will be the back. This side will be left, this side will be right, just to keep things easy. So this one is right. This is base tab, we'll call that. This is left, front, back, back, right tab, back, left tab, simply top, front, left tab, front, back tab, simply right tab, base, left tab. Right, now we can nest them all inside each other the way that they need to be so that they all fold off of the base, because in effect this panel, the base, will stay where it is and all these other panels will fold one on the other and the tabs will fold in from those panels. We want them all to fold in the same orientation if we can. So to begin with, the base will be the parent, so we'll put everything inside there. So to begin with, we'll start with the, doesn't matter which way we do it really, we'll have the front, this tab, then maybe the left and the right and the base tab. So those are the four panels that are the immediate children, if you like, of the base panel. And then on the right panel we've got the right tab. On the left panel we'll have the left tab, will be the child of left. And the front panel has left and right. I named those wrong. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Not back. There you go, left and right panels. Which means I've probably done the same on the other. The top is a child also of the front. In fact, let's just change the order of those just to make life easier. And then the back is a child of the top because it's folding on that line. And then we've got left and right tabs for the back panel. So that gives us a hierarchy. Now what we need to do is to actually get them to fold along what will be the crease lines. So the base tab here, what we want to end up with, what I'd like to end up with, is all of these axes operating in the same direction. So I'm going to start with the top of the hierarchy with the base, and with the axis tool active, which means you can move the axis without actually moving the object. I've got the snapping set to splines snap, which could be useful, but I'm also going to add to this the axis center tool, which would be quite handy to keep up, so I'll just slip it in the interface down here. And what you can do with this is to move the axis around from edge to edge very easily and accurately. But to begin with the axis tool active, we're going to press R to rotate, and I simply want to roll that up, press E to put that back so that the y-axis is sticking up. With the base panel, it doesn't really matter which way around these are, but having them logically on the X and Z axis seems to make sense. So the base tab, we want to Command R 90 degrees E, and then we need to move this back to this edge. And to do that, because that's on the Z axis, we need to make sure in the axis center auto update is turned on. 0 those to start with, and then you should find that there you go, move the Z to -100, and that will bring it right back to the far edge there, which is where we want our hinge to be. So we do the same on all of these. We want the x-axis to run along or the red axis to run along the hinge, the y-axis to be facing the Y, to be straight up, and the z-axis, actually I need to turn that round, I want to be facing the panel that they're actually, like that, the panel that they're actually folding from. So we need to do the same on all of these, roll round the axis round so that it's pointing in the right direction. So that wants to be up, the red one wants to be along, and the blue one pointing in, like this. And this one will need to be moving on the x-axis in. Let's go on the z. There we go. So that's now in the middle of there, which is good. So same here, easiest thing to do, roll that up, roll that round. Now because we've got snapping on, we can probably just drag that back. Now all this is being done with the axis tool still active, so you need to make sure you make that inactive if you start actually trying to move anything, otherwise you'll just move the axis. So roll this round. And turn that round, E to manoeuvre, click that back, R to rotate, E to select, click that back in front. Which way around is our red? There we are. So Y pointing up, E to go back to select, drag that, snap that to the edge. Same with the back panel, R to rotate, Shift to constrain, 90 degrees, E to put it back onto select. R to rotate. E to select, click it back. Right, now let's click back through them and just make sure we've got them all facing the way we'd like. So, blue axis pointing towards the panel that they come from, red along the line and green straight up. Right, hopefully we can select everything except the base, which really doesn't matter too much, and then go freeze all, which will give us the zeros in our little box here, which is great. And with any luck, as we go through, all of these should fold in the same direction. And we give it a positive pitch. Checking, because sometimes you think you've done this and when you get there it all goes very squiffy. Oh, there's a squiffy one. So what have we done there? Oh, we've got the red pointing in. There we are. So make sure our axis tool is still on. R for rotate. And we want to turn that around like that. E to bring it back. Click on there. Perfect. It does mean we'll have to refreeze everything, because that one would be wrong otherwise. Good, so now if we highlight every panel and put a positive pitch in, it should all fold up, which it's doing very nicely. So let's just zero that out for now and we can go on to the next stage, which is to give it some substance. So we'll generate an extrude, stick our hierarchy in there. It will not look particularly nice. In fact, let's take the axis center out of here. So we'll undock that and I'll redo my workplace to give us a bigger window. So initially it will come in with the default 200 on the Z in this case, which we don't want. So we change that to 0. So what we've got now is like a sheet of paper. It's got no thickness to it at all because it's got no extrude in any direction. But it does create a polygon. And the next bit of magic is to click this button here, hierarchical, which then applies that extrude to all the child objects as well as the first one in the hierarchy. So they've now all got a bit of something on them. So that will look a bit more impressive now. If we go to our coordinates, fold it up, you can see that we have a folding box on the go, which is rather nice.